Buckle up, everybody, because today we are taking a deep dive into something pretty fascinating. It's the EU's Automotive Action Plan. It's basically their roadmap for how cars in Europe are going to look in the future.
Yeah.
Whether you love cars or, you're really concerned about climate change or you're just curious about what kind of cool new tech is coming down the road.
Right.
This deep dive is for you. So we're going to be looking at this recent article from Innovation Post that really unpacks the whole plan.
Okay.
And the big question we're trying to answer is, can Europe really pull this off? Can they become a leader in electric vehicles while still keeping their car industry strong?
It's a tough challenge. And what's really fascinating to me is how the EU is approaching this whole thing. They're trying to stay competitive globally while tackling climate change, and they've got some pretty ambitious goals.
Yeah, they're not messing around. They want to ban sales of new gas and diesel cars by 2035.
Yeah.
2035, that's like right around the corner. Is that even realistic?
It's definitely a bold move, and it's causing a lot of debate.
Sure.
The plan's actually under review right now, but that 2035 target, that's probably going to stick around.
Okay.
The big question is, how do they get there?
Right.
There's a lot of back and forth on the best way forward.
Well, the article talks about neutrality technology as a possible solution. What is that exactly?
This is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
The EU is looking at a couple of different approaches. So, for example, you got Germany. They're big on e-fuels.
Okay.
These synthetic fuels made from captured CO2.
So basically, you're filling up your tank with recycled emissions.
It's kind of like something out of a sci-fi movie, right?
Yeah, totally.
And then on the other hand, you've got Italy. They're really into biofuels.
Yeah.
So there's this tension between these different technologies, and each one has its own pros and cons.
Sounds like a real battle of the fuels.
Yeah, you could say that.
But this action plan isn't just about, swapping one type of fuel for another. It seems like it's much bigger than that.
Absolutely. It's way more than just that.
Yeah.
The plan actually lays out 5 key pillars.
Okay.
You've got innovation and clean mobility,
Okay.
supply chain resilience, workforce training, and global competitiveness.
So it's not just about tweaking what's under the hood. We're talking about a total transformation of how Europe's economy and tech landscape works.
It's a complete system overhaul.
Wow.
And Ursula von der Leyen, she's the president of the European Commission.
Yeah.
She's made it very clear that Europe wants to be a leader in this EV revolution, not just a follower.
Lead the charge.
Exactly.
And speaking of cool tech, the plan also talks a lot about AI in vehicles. So are we going to see self-driving cars cruising around European streets?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's part of the vision.
Wow.
They want to create this European alliance for connected and autonomous vehicles. So imagine like dedicated test tracks all across Europe where these self-driving cars can be put through their paces.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, gathering data, constantly improving.
Yeah. So, but can European companies really keep up with the big players like Tesla and those Chinese tech companies that are just growing so fast?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The plan recognizes that Europe has some catching up to do.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to AI software for these vehicles. So they're proposing big investments to boost innovation at home, and they want to create regulations that'll help the industry grow.
Okay, well, let's focus on the clean mobility part of this plan for a minute. How are they actually going to get more people driving electric cars? Because right now, EVs are still pretty expensive.
Yeah, they know affordability is a big hurdle.
Yeah.
One interesting idea is the leasing social program. It's designed to make electric cars more affordable for people who don't have a ton of money.
So it's not just for the wealthy early adopters.
Exactly. They want EVs to be for everyone.
But what about all the charging stations?
Yeah.
That's a big problem right now, right?
You're right. That's a huge issue.
Yeah.
Imagine if you had to drive for miles and miles just to find a gas station. That's the situation for a lot of EV drivers right now.
Right.
So a big part of the plan is investing in a huge network of charging stations all over Europe.
Okay, but let's talk about batteries for a second. Where are all the materials for these EV batteries going to come from?
That's a critical question, and the EU knows it.
Yeah.
They're worried about relying on countries like China for those essential battery parts and all the geopolitical risks that come with that.
And what about the environmental impact of mining all those materials? Are they thinking about that?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
They've got this battery booster initiative. It's a multi-billion-euro investment to ramp up battery production right here in Europe.
Okay.
And they want to make sure that those raw materials are sourced ethically and sustainably.
That's good.
Yeah.
But is it enough? Can Europe really catch up with those Asian companies that are already so far ahead in the battery game?
Well, Only time will tell.
Yeah.
But the EU is serious about becoming a major player in the whole battery supply chain, from the mining all the way to the recycling.
So they're not just trying to catch up. They want to be the leaders.
Exactly.
This whole thing raises a big question about jobs. What happens to all the people working in the traditional car industry as we move toward electric vehicles?
That's a big concern, and it's something the plan addresses directly.
Okay.
They're focusing on retraining those workers and supporting them during this shift.
Yeah.
They want to make this transition as smooth as possible.
It sounds like they get that this isn't just about technology, it's about people's lives.
Well, absolutely.
But can they really avoid any major disruptions?
That's the challenge, isn't it? There are a lot of moving parts and a lot of potential bumps along the way.
Yeah.
But at least the EU seems committed to helping workers navigate this change.
So to zoom out a bit, how does this plan position Europe on the global stage? Are they going to be a leader or a follower in this whole electric vehicle revolution?
Well, the EU's goal is clear.
Yeah.
They want to create a level playing field for European companies. They want to make sure they can compete fairly without being undercut by companies from other countries that might be getting big subsidies.
So basically they're saying, we're not going to let other countries play Gertie.
That's right.
And that's it for this first part of our deep dive.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
We've gone from banning gas guzzlers to the race for AI-powered cars.
Batteries.
Oh, yeah, the battery challenge.
Not to mention the impact on jobs.
This action plan is a pretty complex beast,
It is.
but we're not done yet.
No.
In the next part, we're going to dig even deeper and see what the potential consequences of Europe's big automotive dreams might be.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned.
All right. One thing that really stands out to me in this action plan is how much emphasis the EU is putting on a just transition. You know, it's not just about adopting new technologies.
Right.
It's about making sure this shift to electric vehicles actually benefits everyone, not just a small group of people.
That's a good point, especially with those potential job losses we talked about. Sounds like they're trying to get ahead of that.
Exactly. They are. They're proposing these huge investments in retraining programs. And they want to provide financial help to those workers who might lose their jobs.
Right.
And they're even creating new initiatives to encourage job growth in the whole electric vehicle sector.
This whole transition kind of feels like a giant social experiment happening in real time.
It is, doesn't it?
I mean, we're talking about reshaping not just an industry, but economies and ways of life.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. That's what I find so fascinating about this whole thing.
Yeah.
The EU is essentially trying to manage a disruption. They're pushing for these radical changes, but at the same time, they're trying to minimize the negative effects.
It makes you wonder if they can really pull it off.
Yeah.
Can they really balance progress with stability like that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
There are definitely challenges ahead.
For sure.
We've already talked about the need to secure a stable supply of those raw materials. And then there's the race to develop the cutting-edge AI technology. And, of course, the whole issue of building that charging infrastructure.
Yeah, and let's not forget about the potential pushback from people who aren't so happy about this fast move to electric vehicles.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there are valid concerns about affordability, for sure.
Yeah.
And how fast these changes are happening and what it's going to mean for people in rural areas who might not have easy access to those charging stations.
Right.
It's a really complex situation with so many factors to consider.
Yeah, it's a lot to juggle. But what I find interesting is how the EU is trying to use this transition to not just catch up, but to actually jump ahead in the whole global car race.
Yeah, they see this as a real chance to position themselves as leaders in things like sustainable transportation, smart cities, and how we integrate AI into mobility.
So they're not just playing defense, they're going on offense.
Exactly. They're saying, hey, we're not going to just follow the trends, we're going to set them.
I like that attitude.
It's a bold move, and it makes this a really crucial moment for Europe.
Yeah.
They have a real opportunity to redefine what it means to be a leader in the car industry and maybe even reshape the whole global landscape in the process.
It's a pretty ambitious goal.
It is, and there are definitely a lot of potential problems along the way.
Yeah.
This is uncharted territory we're talking about.
For sure.
But one thing's for sure, the EU is making a big bet on the future of electric vehicles.
Yeah.
They see this as a key to economic growth, technological innovation, and environmental sustainability.
It's a pretty bold vision.
It is, and whether they succeed or fail, the impact of this automotive action plan is going to be felt all over the world.
Yeah, this isn't just a European story.
Not at all. It's a global game changer.
We've talked a lot about what the EU wants to do at home, but how does this plan position them on the world stage? Can they really compete with those big car-making countries like China and the US?
That's a great question, and it's one that the EU is definitely thinking about. They've actually included several things in this action plan that are designed to boost their global competitiveness.
Like what?
Well, for one, they're really focused on creating a level playing field.
Okay.
And they're planning to use trade defense measures to fight back against unfair competition from those foreign rivals that are getting all those subsidies.
So they're saying, hey, we're not going to let you undercut our industry with those unfair practices.
Exactly. They're drawing a line in the sand.
I like that.
They're also super focused on getting access to those critical raw materials we talked about.
Right.
Those are absolutely essential for making batteries.
Yeah.
This is an area where they really need to step up their game.
I mean, China pretty much dominates that whole area right now. That's a big problem for Europe.
It is. It's a strategic vulnerability for
Yeah.
sure. So the EU is looking at a bunch of different strategies to deal with this.
Yeah.
Investing in mining and refining here in Europe, partnering up with other countries to get those stable supplies. They're trying to diversify and not rely on just one source.
Sounds like they're really thinking this through.
Yeah, they are. They're playing a long game here.
And they're also trying to use their strengths to their advantage.
Right.
Like their expertise in manufacturing and their commitment to sustainability.
That's right. Those are areas where they can really stand out.
So they're not just copying what everyone else is doing. They're trying to find their own unique place in the electric car market.
Exactly. They see this as a chance to make Europe a leader in developing high-quality, sustainable, and technologically advanced electric vehicles.
That's a pretty cool vision.
It is. It's about creating a brand identity that resonates with people who care about those things.
It's definitely ambitious, but it sounds like they've got a plan.
Yeah, they do. But whether they can actually pull it off depends on a lot of things.
Yeah.
How effective their policies are, what's happening with the global economy in general.
Right.
There are a lot of factors outside their control that could affect their success.
It's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out.
It is. It's a high-stakes game with huge implications for the whole world.
We've covered a lot of ground in this second part of our deep dive.
Yeah, we have.
We've talked about this idea of a just transition and what the EU is doing to become more competitive globally.
Right.
But there's still more to explore.
Yeah, there is.
In the next part, we're going to look at some of the specific policies and initiatives in the Automotive Action Plan.
Okay.
And we'll examine what kind of impact they could have on the industry, the economy, and the environment.
Sounds good.
All right, so we've talked about the big picture, the goals and the strategies, but let's get into the details. What are some of the specific things the EU is actually doing to make this electric vehicle revolution happen?
Well, one key area is incentives. They really want to get people to actually buy these electric vehicles.
Okay.
We already mentioned that leasing social program.
Right.
But they're also looking at a bunch of other incentives like tax breaks when you buy an EV subsidies for putting a charging station in their house. And even things like, giving EVs preferential parking spots.
So it's kind of like a carrot and stick approach.
Yeah.
Make EVs more appealing and then gently nudge people away from gas-powered cars.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's about creating a whole ecosystem where electric vehicles are favored. Make them not just a possibility, but something that people actually want.
Right.
And a huge part of that is building those charging stations we've been talking about.
Yeah.
They're setting targets for how many they need, and they're putting money behind it to make it happen.
Okay. But it's not just about having a ton of charging stations, right?
No.
I imagine the type of charging station matters too.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
They're really pushing for fast charging stations,
Okay.
especially along those major highways and travel routes.
Makes sense.
Yeah. The goal is to get rid of that range anxiety that a lot of people have about EVs.
Yeah, you don't want to run out of power in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. Make those long trips just as easy as with a gas car.
Right. If people are worried about that, they're not going to switch.
No, they won't. And it's not just about how fast they charge.
Okay.
They also want these smart charging solutions.
What does that mean?
So like where your car charges during off-peak hours?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, to avoid putting too much stress on the power grid.
So they're thinking about the bigger picture of how this transition is going to affect the entire energy system.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That's smart.
They know there's going to be a huge increase in demand for electricity as more and more EVs hit the road. So
Yeah.
they're investing in grid upgrades and figuring out how to get more renewable energy sources in the mix.
So it's a smooth transition, not just for drivers, but for the whole energy infrastructure.
Exactly. It's all connected.
It really sounds like they're trying to think about all the different pieces of this puzzle.
They are. They're taking a holistic view.
And what about the environmental impact? I mean, are they thinking about that too?
Yeah, for sure. It's not just about cutting emissions from the cars themselves.
Right.
It's about the whole life cycle of an electric vehicle.
Okay.
From where they get those raw materials to how they recycle the batteries at the end of its life,
Right.
they want a truly sustainable solution.
Because sometimes it feels like we're just replacing one environmental problem with another, you know?
I get that, and the EU is trying to deal with that directly.
Okay.
They're pushing for ethical and sustainable ways of sourcing those materials.
Hmm.
And they're investing a lot in battery recycling technologies.
Yeah, they can be reused.
Exactly. The goal is a circular economy where those resources are reused over and over again.
That's awesome.
Yeah, instead of ending up in a landfill somewhere.
So it's not just about electric vehicles on their own. It's about creating a transportation system that's more sustainable and resilient.
That's it. You got it.
And it sounds like there are a lot of opportunities for innovation and investment in this whole area.
Oh, absolutely. Tons.
Yeah.
This transition is going to create whole new industries and change the ones that already exist. New technologies, new business models, new jobs. It's a constantly changing landscape.
It's exciting, but also a little bit scary. Right? I mean, this is a huge shift, and it's going to require people to adapt and work together and maybe even shake things up a bit along the way.
It will, but the EU seems committed to making it work.
Yeah.
They see it as a vital step towards a more sustainable, more competitive, and more prosperous future for Europe.
And the choices they make are probably going to affect the whole world.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, this has been a really interesting deep dive.
It has.
We've looked at the EU's goals for their Automotive Action Plan, how they plan to do it, the challenges they're facing, and how it could impact the car industry, the economy, and the environment.
It's a complex story, and it's still unfolding.
It is, and I think one of the big takeaways is that this isn't just about technology.
No, it's not.
It's about people, it's about the planet, and it's about building a future where transportation is sustainable and accessible for everyone.
Exactly. Well said.
The choices we make now are going to shape the world we drive into tomorrow. So to everyone listening out there, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep those wheels turning.
Yeah.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like this episode and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating explorations of the world around us.
We'll see you next time.
Until then, keep exploring.